We treat high functioning as a compliment, and in many ways, it is a genuinely admirable quality. But in the context of trauma, high functioning often means something much more specific. You get things done, right? You show up, you hold it together, you solve the problems that other people can't even name yet. You are, by almost every external measure, fine. You're very successful, more than fine. You are capable, impressive even. And yet, there is this thing that happens late at night, or in the car, or in the shower, or on your way back home on the train, wherever you are, where something in you just collapses. Not dramatically, not in a way that you could explain to anyone, just a kind of bone deep fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. Is this low grade, low hum, a feeling of being completely alone inside, a life that looks full, but you feel almost numb. And you've probably called it stress, burnout, an introvert who needs more recharge time. And maybe you have wondered if something is wrong with you physically. You've gotten the blood work, the thyroid panel, and started a new supplement. But here's what no one has said to you directly. What you are describing is not a productivity problem or a self-care deficit. It's not even a personality flaw like you may be thinking. It is the physiological and psychological cost of having spent years, possibly decades, living in a nervous system that was never allowed to rest. And trust me, I can relate to that. That is a trauma response. And today, I want to help you understand why. Hi, I'm Karina Aybar, psychotherapist and coach, and I make videos about setting boundaries without feeling guilty, emotional regulation, parentification, and generational trauma recovery so that you can understand why you feel the way you do and how to heal it with compassionate and practical tools. So let's start dismantling a myth. We treat high functioning as a compliment, and in many ways, it is a genuinely admirable quality. But in the context of trauma, high functioning often means something much more specific. It means that you learned to perform competence as a survival strategy. You overcompensate. Somewhere early in your life, in your family, in your household, in your particular childhood, you figured out that being capable kept you safe, kept you getting attention, and that anticipating everyone's needs meant fewer crises. That being the one who held it together meant that things would be okay, manageable, not worse. You would be praised. And maybe you were the child who could read the room before you could read a book. Maybe you were praised for being very mature for your age. And you learned your parents' mood was your responsibility to manage, and everyone else's. Maybe you became the emotional translator between worrying adults. The one who mediated, the one who made excuses, the one who would make sure your siblings were okay even when they were not. You just had this ability to read people's moods. And maybe no one ever asked you directly to do these things. You just knew. You absorbed it from the atmosphere of your home, right? Because children are exquisitely attuned to the emotional states of other people. They depend on that for survival. That attunement is not necessarily a gift, but a biological imperative. And somewhere in that process, you got very good at it, very good at being needed, at managing, at delivering, at not falling apart. And that skill saved you then, but it is exhausting you now. Now, here's what I want you to understand about trauma that changes everything. Trauma is not primarily a story, it is a state. This is the part that trips people up. When most of us think of trauma, we think of a specific event, something terrible and dramatic and obvious, and we think that didn't happen to me. My childhood wasn't like that. I wasn't abused, I was loved. My parents cared for me, right? But the body does not distinguish between threat and chronic stress by category. It distinguishes by experience. What your nervous system records as traumatic, any prolonged experience of feeling unsafe, unseen, or unable to escape a situation that overwhelmed your capacity to cope, especially when you were young, and specifically when it happened in your attachment relationships, the people you needed most. This prolonged exposure to trauma or little t trauma meant growing up in a household where emotional volatility was unpredictable, having a parent who was physically present but emotionally absent, checked out, depressed, chronically anxious, being parentified, which means given emotional, logistical, or psychological responsibilities that belonged to adults. Or even economically, as an adult, you continue to be parentified and be a provider, and the responsibilities gets displaced on you versus maybe your siblings. It means living in an environment where love felt conditional on your performance, your compliance, your smallness. Having your emotional reality consistently minimized. You are too sensitive. You are overreacting. We don't talk about that. Oh, you need to move on. Oh, you're so resentful. You need to heal your heart. You don't hold resentment in your heart. We forgive. These experiences don't always look traumatic from the outside. The family photo looks fine. Christmas happened and you got fed, but your nervous system, your body, was living in a low-grade state of threat for years. What nervous systems in chronic threats do? It adapts. It learns to stay vigilant. It learns to scan for danger. It learns to suppress, to override, push through, stay one step ahead. It develops exquisite sensitivity to other people's emotional states. It learns that your emotional states are not welcome, not safe, not worth attending to. And in polyvagal terms, if you've heard Stephen Porges' work, you learn to live in a sympathetic activation, the gas pedal constantly pressed, the window for true rest slammed shut. And this is not necessarily a character trait. This is neurobiology and what chronic threat does to a developing brain and body. And many of my clients, my parentified adults, live in this state of high functioning, including myself. Now, here's where it gets precise, because the exhaustion that you feel has a specific texture, and I want to name it so that you can recognize it yourself. The first layer is hypervigilance fatigue. You are always tracking, always monitoring the tone of someone's voice, the micro shifts in someone's energy, the thing that was not said in the meeting, the way your partner looked at you when they walked in the door. This scanning is so automatic. You don't even notice that you are doing it, but it costs your energy, enormous, continuous amounts of energy. Living with hypervigilance is like running a background program that consumes 80% of your CPU at all times, and then wondering why you feel depleted by 3 p.m. You can get very exhausted psychologically. Now, the second layer is the cost of emotional suppression. You learned early on that your emotions were too much. They were inconvenient or dangerous. So you got good at overriding them, stuffing them down, moving forward, getting on with it. But suppression is not the same as resolution. Those feelings do not disappear. They get stored in the body as tension, as chronic pain, as digestive issues, as that inexplicable just feeling of dread. Author Bessel van der Kolk says, the body keeps the score. And you may be wondering why you have this back pain and all these gut challenges. And it is related to that prolonged exposure to trauma, to hypervigilance, to being so attuned to other people's emotions that you don't even allow yourself to make mistakes. You blame yourself if something doesn't go the way that it's supposed to. You are too sensitive for that and may get very defensive if you are giving any constructive critique. Now, the third layer is the exhaustion of performing okayness, right? There is a profound energy drain in the performance of being fine, in masking, in meeting people where they are while never being met where you are, in always being the capable one, the stable one, the one with the answers, when underneath it all, there is a younger part of you who still is waiting to be seen, still waiting for someone to finally ask, hey, how are you feeling? How are you really? And because you have been the capable one for so long, that question can feel almost unbearable when it comes, because you don't know how to answer it, because you've stopped being able to feel what you feel in real time. Many of my clients and members, they struggle with the verbiage to identify their emotions. They have difficulty identifying and describing their own emotions. And it is extremely common in people who grew up having to override their own experience. The fourth layer, and this one is the deepest. This is the exhaustion of not knowing who you are outside of being useful. If you were parentified, if you were the fixer, the helper, the one who held it together, then your identity became organized around function, around what you do for others. When you are not producing, not helping, not delivering, there is often a terrifying feeling of emptiness, of worthlessness, of if I'm not useful, do I even matter? Or I am lost. You're constantly yearning and looking forward to resting, but when you are, then you cannot. Now, I want to address the resistance that may be coming up right now, because I see it constantly in my work. The resistance, it sounds like, well, but my childhood wasn't that bad. Other people had it so much worse. My parents did their best. I'm not a victim. And hey, I am not saying that you are. I'm not here to vilify your parents. I want to honor that. And I also want to offer you a reframe. Recognizing that you carry developmental trauma is not an indictment of your parents. Most dysregulated parents were themselves dysregulated children who never got help. Generational trauma moves through families like weather, like an imprint. Not because people are bad or intentional about it, but because unhealed pain has nowhere to go but forward. And recognizing your trauma is not a weakness. It is actually precision. It is information. It is the most honest accounting of your own experience that you may have ever done. And here's the other reason you haven't seen it, because high functioning is its own form of camouflage. You are not the child who fell apart visibly. You were not the one who got flagged. You were the one who got praised. You got gold stars of your coping mechanisms. You probably got very good grades. You got validation for your suppression. The world rewarded you for being exactly the way that your wounds made you. And that is a particularly cruel kind of trap, because it means the very thing that hurt you also became the thing that you were most praised for and that you feel proud of. And so you kept doing it. And of course you did. It felt good. It still does. And I don't want to leave you with the weight of recognition without direction. So let me say this to you. This is healable. This is actually not fixable in the sense of erasing what happened, but it is healable in the sense that your nervous system can learn, genuinely learn, that it is safe to rest, that you do not have to earn your existence, that your value is not contingent on your output. But healing for high-functioning trauma survivors looks different from what you might expect. It is not about working harder on yourself. It is not another productivity system. It is not pushing through to some insight that finally makes everything okay, or going through all sorts of modalities of therapy, right? Healing at its most fundamental level is about regulation before cognition. Your nervous system needs to experience safety in your body, in your relationships, in enough repeated moments of actually being okay before the cognitive work can land. And this means learning to feel what you feel first in real time without immediately managing it or trying to fix it. Pause, notice, name what's actually happening in your body before you go into problem-solving mode. This is nervous system literacy. And it begins with small, tolerable moments of internal attention. As I always emphasize, it means grieving what wasn't. So much of recovery from developmental trauma is grief. Grief for the childhood where you were allowed to just be a child. Grief for the parent who could have been different. Grief for all the years you spent taking care of everyone except for yourself. Grief for what you did not get. And it's not self-pity, right? It's the emotional completion of experiences that were never allowed to finish. Because learning that your needs are not a burden. This is relational healing. Accept support, accept help, ask for it. It happens in therapy, but it is also in any relationship where you practice being imperfect, being honest with yourself, being vulnerable, and discovering that the relationship survives, that you're not too much, that needing things does not make you a liability or a bother, because you are so willing to do that for others, right? So separating identity from function. You are not what you practice or produce. You are not how helpful you are. You exist. You are worthy of existing in your stillness, in your rest, in your incompleteness, in your confusion. This will feel deeply uncomfortable at first, and that discomfort is information. It is pointing you toward the work. Now, high-functioning exhaustion is the quietest epidemic in the rooms where I work and that I see with my clients and members. It sits in accomplished women who have never been told that what they lived through counts, who have been told implicitly or explicitly that they're fine, they're strong, they're handling it, when underneath that performance is a person who has been running on empty for years. And this does not discriminate, okay? This is applicable to anyone across the gender spectrum. However, from my experience in my practice, this happens a lot with a lot of women, especially parentified women, right? Underneath that performance is a person who has been running on empty for years, still waiting for permission to stop. And if this is you, and I think for many of you, it is actually something to recognize that you're not failing. You're not constitutionally incapable of rest. You are not too intense or too sensitive or too much or weak for recognizing this. You're not going to be judged. You're a person who learned to survive in a way that cost you more than anyone told you. And you have been paying that cost quietly for a very long time. You are allowed to put it down. And now, if this resonated, please let me know in the comments. I read each one of them. Remember that slowly, with support, with curiosity, with the radical act of actually turning toward yourself, the way you have spent your whole life turning toward everyone else, this can be unlearned, okay? That is the bravest thing that you can do for yourself. Now, subscribe if you want more healing and practical tools. I am here every Monday, every week. And if this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. I will see you in the next video. And please remember your resilience.